and I've got a few things I just kind of want to update everyone on before we get started into this. You think we're good, Will? Okay?
Yeah, I might ask if everyone will go on to mute for now, and then that way we can easily hear Jody and Earl. And so maybe those two can stay unmuted, and then we'll open up the mics here when we go into questions and answers here.
All right. Thanks, Will. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here this evening, or it could be morning, depends on where you're calling from. But again, thank you all so much. We've had a lot of interest in these Zoom meetings, and I think they're starting to take off for us. And besides, with the COVID going on these days, I mean, this is the next best thing to us really getting together. But a few of the fly-ins I just want to touch base on. So we have the Stinson Summit that's coming up in September the 25th and through the 27th. That is on. So I know I've talked to several of you guys that have signed up for that, but we're going to go forward with that. The hotel, unfortunately, is booked, but there is alternatives. You can camp under your wing. There is a shower available, or you can go to the nearest town, which is El Dorado, Kansas, and they have MoGas at that airport, and they've got a couple hotels there. So that would be the closest. It's about a 10-minute flight, maybe a 20-minute drive from the Beaumont Hotel. But we're really excited about that. Friday afternoon, we're going to have luncheon at Stearman Field. This will be just a kind of a meet and greet there for lunch, and then we'll get in the gaggle and head to Beaumont probably around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then have a group dinner followed by a presentation from the Kansas Aviation Museum. So that's going to be a wonderful evening to join in and just kind of sit back and relax and listen to some of the the aviation history from Wichita. And we've got more on Saturday, so we'll be putting out a detailed agenda of all the speakers for the entire day for Saturday, and then we'll wrap things up on Sunday morning. But I'll move on from that. And next month, if you're joining us, we'll go into a little more detail about that as well. Rec Law is let me back up. So right after the Stinson Summit, the first weekend in October was for Ranger. Due to unforeseen circumstances, not COVID related, the Ranger fly-in is not going to happen. So Jared, who is the caretaker of that airfield, is not ready to have a fly-in, mainly because of several reasons. They've been building a hangar, and they've got some they've moved a lot of dirt. And then out in Texas, Will, I know y'all have not had much rain this year. He was saying they've not had a rain since May, and with that and other things, it's just he's going to go ahead and call it. But if you were planning on going to Ranger, go ahead and scratch that off your list. And lastly is the Rec Law fly-in, which is the last weekend in October. That would be October the 30th through November the 1st. That's in Rec Law, Texas. That one is a go. So I've seen several posts, and folks who have been to that before know that's quite a fly-in to go to. And as Stinson drivers, we can all kind of gather up. So if you'd like to join in with some fun there at Rec Law Fly-In, do so. Mark that on your list. And I'll talk about next month toward the end of this interview with Earl Allen, and you'll want to stay tuned for that. So, all right. So let me get into what I've got written down here for Earl Allen. Many of us know Earl as if you've got a part for a 108 and you need it, call Earl. And his name comes up many, many times throughout conversations everywhere I go. And just a few statistics on Earl. Earl is a retired airline pilot for 37 years for Southern Airlines, has more than 13,000 hours. I would say PIC. Earl, correct me if I'm wrong. And he has been in 104 Reno air races and two-time national champion in the bi-wing category. Fairly impressive there. And Earl, can you just kind of start out by telling us a little, kind of how you got in business, what you've been doing? I'm sure it's kind of like all of us feeding our habits, but share with us what it is you've done and came across these primarily the Stinson 108s, and you may have others as well I just don't know about.
I don't know if you got that. I flew for Southern Air Transport for 37 years. The Hercules and the 747. Okay. And the way I got into the Stinson thing, I really didn't know much about Stinsons, but years ago I was on a layover in San Antonio, and a guy there that I traded T6 stuff with, he took a Stinson on trade, and he says, at the time I was going to buy a Maul, and he says, you ever fly a Stinson? I says, nope, never even thought about a Stinson. He says, well, this guy gave me one on a T6 deal, and he says, why don't you go check it out? Well, I flew it once and bought it. So that was my first Stinson. And that was probably in about late 70s, 79, 80, I guess. But anyway, I had that Stinson for quite a few years, and then rebuilt it, and then just started buying Stinson parts. One thing led to another. And as I got farther along with the airlines, I sold that and went through a bunch of other airplanes and ended up buying another Stinson. And then I put 180 horse Like in it. It was the best Stinson I ever had, a -2. And I had the Bobcat conversion, absolutely loved the airplane. And I flew it until I ran into this thing sitting behind me. And my wife is still mad at me for selling it. But anyway, while I was still with the airlines, I started, I'm bouncing all over the country, and on layovers, I would just go look at Stinsons, and I ended up starting to buy them. And I thought, when I retire here pretty soon, I need something to keep me going. So I was selling parts all along, but I started rat holing them. So I collected up about 25 airplanes before I retired. And through the years, just selling parts, it just kept mushrooming on me, and ended up going through over 100 airplanes. Okay. And with that, back then I had 120 acres, and I had the room and all kinds of space. And so the Stinson started just piling up, and believe me, I didn't scrap junk, but I ended up scrapping about 75 airplanes. Okay. But they were, it wasn't, if you graded things 1 to 10, I kept the 8, 9, 10s and just got rid of the junk. Okay. Because as you know, anybody buys an airplane, he wants a brand new 70-year-old part. Okay. And I had stuff with patches and stuff that was bent and stuff that was that. And at first I was buying them all over the country because I had a lady that, Dana Transport, you guys might see it on Barnstormers, but Elizabeth would bring me an airplane anywhere in the country, 2 at a time for $2,500. And so as time went on, the cost started getting more and more and more. So, and the other thing I learned is I quit buying airplanes off the East Coast. No offense to anybody who lives on the East Coast and stuff, but I wouldn't buy anything west of the Mississippi because of corrosion problems. And so I started buying, you know, just Nevada and California, Oregon, all that stuff. That way I kind of kept me out of the corrosion business. And one thing led to another, and I've just been doing it now for probably 25 years as a hobby, just to pay for stuff like behind me. And, you know, I'd make a little money and spend a whole bunch and make a whole bunch and spend a little bit and do that. So when I retired, it turned up to be a good, what do you call it, a retirement gig. So I still have a hangar complex where I used to live. I've moved into a gated airport community in Northern California. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's going on in California, but we started getting so many of these druggies around us and growers and all that stuff. So we sold our property to almond growers. So they took out the runway and everything, but I kept the hangar complex for 5 years. I leased it back. So I still have the complex down there. And what I do now is I take orders, and on Monday I go get all the stuff and then I ship it on Tuesday. And the rest of my time I just play. I'll be 75 in January. I stayed with that airline till I was 66. I was very fortunate and stayed there. When I hit 60, I was a check captain on the 747, so I went into the training department. And then they changed the rule 11 months later, so I went right back to the line for 4 more years. And then when I hit 65, I stayed another year as a training captain. And then they were going to 777s, and I'd already learned 2 airplanes in my life, and I figured my brain was full. I couldn't handle learning another airplane, so I actually did retire. And I ended up flying for outfit here at the airport whose hangar I'm in, PJ Helicopters. So for 5 years, I flew fire patrol and through the summers. And they gave that up last year, so now I'm just full-time retired. So I'm just going to play and do the airplane thing. I have 4 years left on the lease, so fair warning, in 4 years I'm done. So I'm going to keep buying and selling airplanes. I've got offers out on 1 airplane right now, I hope I get, but I'm only buying good stuff. I need rudders that are perfect. I need elevators that are perfect. I need that kind of stuff, you know, so I can, and as you know, I send this stuff to the guys. If they're not happy, they just send it right back. I don't even charge them until they got it and they're happy with it. So doing that. And this little jewel behind us, there's a guy sitting here next to me that's done about half the labor on this thing. Oh, what's this?
So, yeah, let's try turning your video back on and see if it works.
Okay. But anyway, it's actually 2 years ago I bought this project behind me, and it's E.L. Cord's airplane. Guy I knew started the project in 1980, and it's typical of a lot of Stinsons. The project outlives the projector. I mean, he's still alive, but he had given up. He just gave up on it. He lost his life and some other things in life, and he had other things going, so he gave up on the airplane. A guy from Germany, Reiner, I don't know if you know Reiner, Agni. Reiner was going to buy this airplane, and he backed out of the deal, so I jumped in and bought it. And now I know why he jumped out. I've spent about half my retirement finishing this airplane. So, and but it is unique. It's the only SM-7B flyable in the world. They only built 15 of these. This one was built for E.L. Cord, and there's just 3 left in the world. 2 are in museums, and then I have the other one, which we plan on flying around for a while, and we'll see what happens. We ran the engine and taxied it yesterday, so we're getting real close to flying it. And play with that and sell parts and do that. What else?
So we could count on you bringing that to Oshkosh next year, Earl?
Yeah, actually, we were supposed to be there this year, which I wouldn't have made because we got backed up on it because my wife went through some health things, but she's over that. And we were supposed to take it to Indiana for the Cord get together they have every year in Indiana for the Cord Museum. So we'll try and make both of those next year.
Well, that'd be great. We'd love to see you bring that. That's quite a trip, from California to Oshkosh, but certainly worthwhile and being there, which will be our 101st anniversary of Stinson next year. But I've got to say one thing, Earl, and as you mentioned, a lot of times, in fact, I bought some flap hinge covers from you, and you said, hey, I'll just send them to you. If you don't like it, just send it back, okay? And there's not too many in today's world would just trust you to do that, so that's pretty awesome what you're doing there.
Those flap hinge covers are a unique story. What I did is I was doing a lot of trips in and out of Seoul, and I went to a little sand casting shop over there, and they duplicated the originals for me in aluminum. The originals were magnesium, and I was selling those for $250 a set, and they were costing me $6 over there for a set. So thanks for the money, you guys.
I don't know if I brag about that.
Oh, that's good.
The funny thing is I would bring them through customs in Anchorage, and the guy, because you can't bring product over, and he says, "What are those?" And I says, "Look, you put them on you put them on a fence post, you run a wire through the middle to keep your horses in a corral." And he go, "Oh, hey, that's really a great idea." So he knew I had to bring hundreds and hundreds of them to fence my horses in. Anyway, I don't have any more. I wish I had hundreds more of them.
I think I bought your last set. At least that's what you told me when I bought them, and it's been, I don't know, 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago. But yeah. Earl, do you deal in any kind of engines?
Nope.
Okay.
The reason I don't, if I send you an airframe part, I can guarantee it. I know exactly what it is. Engines parts, I don't. I send my core engines to Susan at Franklin Motors. So she kind of made a deal with me. She buys the engine sight unseen, and I'll collect up 3 or 4 of them, send them to her. So when I buy an airplane, I know I'm getting this much money out of the engine to help pay for it. So, but I don't do any engine stuff at all, unless it's really nice, like it's a 220 or I actually was lucky enough to pick up a brand new in the box 165 Franklin that a guy purchased back in 1955, and and Reiner actually bought it from me and then sold it to another guy.
Wow. Don't come across those every day.
Nope, brand new in the box.
Wow. So what are some of your harder parts that that either you're selling, harder parts to find, or that you see a lot of folks asking for, these days?
Probably the most sought after is the Dash 3 brakes, the right-hand brakes. I actually have a waiting list for those if I come across them. Good Dash 3 rudders are impossible to find, that are flawless. And then, I sell a lot of wing tips and that kind of stuff, for ground loopers. So, but no, I just never know. I mean, I sold an upper cowling today. I mean, last week I shipped out 4 flaps and, a set of ailerons to Florida. And, I did shipping today, and I sent out, some scuff plates for a door. I sent out, my last big fuel valve. I sent a, right-hand light out, so just about anything. I just never know. The stuff I can't hold on to is like the fillet fairings for the landing gear, the gear fairing, and then the fuselage, the gear fairings, because most of those are just so patched up. But when I do get a set, it goes instantly. So.
Sure. What about props? I know you don't deal in engines, but do you do anything with the props?
There's a prop shop in Oakland that buys them from me, because he specializes in 170s, Cessna 170s. They're actually worth more on a 170 than they are on a Stinson. So, I have outlets for the props. I don't put them up for sale. And again, I send them to the shop because I don't know where that propeller's been.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
What about logbooks? I know you probably get a few logbooks. Do you hang on to those, or do you?
Part of the deal. No. Part of the deal when I buy an airplane, I make the people who sell it to me send the records back to the FAA as scrapped. Okay. Okay. If they don't, and the state of California hears that I bought an airplane, they will bill me for 8.5% of what they think it's worth. Okay. And I've had to fight them once or twice because people went and put my name on that thing when it left. Okay. Then about 6 months later, the state of California gets wind of it, and they go and they tell you what they think it's worth. So they say, oh God, this airplane's got to be worth $40,000, and they'll send me a bill for 8.5% of $40,000 for what they call use tax. Okay, so I buy airplanes. I'll take the logbooks just for the fun of it, but they have to send the registration back to the FAA as scrap. So, and then the other reason I don't sell data plates and logbooks is I just don't want to get into any kind of situation. I had a guy call me and he wanted the data plate and logbooks because he's getting a divorce and he needed to hide the airplane. So I just stay away from that.
Hey, Earl.
Yeah.
Archie Turnbull here. Last time I saw you was at Reno. You were sitting in an ugly little blue airplane for the Legal Eagle racing team. And
That's right.
just wondered what you thought about where that airplane, the evolution of that thing happened.
Well, that airplane is the only civilian airplane sitting in the McClellan Air Museum. Okay. That's the only airplane that ever raced at Reno in full airline colors. Southern Air Transport sponsored me back in 87 and 88. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And I flew that in full Southern colors, and then it was taken over by a group of attorneys in Chicago, and I flew it for them for another 12 years, and then won 2 championships with it. And but its N number, it's November 382 Sierra Juliet. Okay, November 382 is a Hercules. 382.
Sure.
Okay, Sierra Juliet was Southern Air's 2-letter identifier. Okay.
I was there.
Huh?
I was there.
Yeah. So, yep, it's at McClellan Air Museum.
Huh. Well, didn't that Monk biplane get super modified into what's now Phantom?
No. No, when I retired from racing that airplane, Tom Aberley flew it for about 5 years. Okay?
Right.
And but after a year or so, I got kind of spoiled. So I had a stock pits. So I went back racing the stock pits, and then I I think I won 6 or 7 of the bronze races with that airplane. So, but that was just, I think I raced about 7, 8 pitches through the years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a real thing for pitches.
Yeah. I never actually flew with you at Southern, but I flew around you. I was out there at McClellan for a while.
Right now, yeah. Well, way cool. You know, we've got a reunion in October at Lake Tahoe.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Nancy, aren't you on the Southern Air website?
No.
Oh, get on it. You know, Southern Air Transport. You know, it's got a regular thing, and but Nancy Lemons, remember Nancy?
No.
Blonde here. Oh, okay. She's just retired from FedEx, and she's putting it together. But all the information's on there. It's in October, the end of October. I'll be there.
Yeah, my great granddaughters are in Reno, so that'll be great.
Oh yeah, yep. So hey, I'd love to see you. That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. I just every once in a while I think about it. You know, I watched Tom take that Phantom around and bust all the records and everything, and I used to always wonder what Earl's up to, you know. And then I started checking out Stinson's in this club, you know, and I saw your name and I thought, I wonder if that's the same Earl Allen.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my dad's old airplane, but I just can't do it. He died when I was 10, and you know, so I don't have any numbers or anything.
Yeah. Was it a Stinson?
Yeah, it was a Stinson Voyager. It was I'm not sure which model, but he and his partner in business, they had Columbia Asphalt Paving Company in Yakima, Washington. And this was back in the late 40s and through the mid 50s into the 60s, actually. And they bought twin airplanes. They bought 2 of them. My dad's was the maroon color, and his partner, Ted Lonan, had the midnight blue one. And yeah, I can remember as a little kid, you know, flying around in those things.
Hey, Will, if you'd like to just open it up to everyone who would like to ask questions to Earl, let's just do that.
Okay, so I can click a button, and most people should be unmuted, and if you're not, you can do that on your own computer there. So we can have other people ask Earl questions.
I have a question about paperwork. So do you send anything out with paperwork?
What about the paperwork?
Yeah, do you actually have any way to send stuff that's got a tag with it?
I'm still not understanding your question about paperwork.
Well, over here in England, we have to have a thing called a Form 1. I'm not quite sure what the states call it. Is it an 813 or something like that?
8130.
8130.
Yeah, so we've got a big problem at the moment with the regulator here. We call it the Civil Aviation Authority, or the Campaign Against Aviation. And they actually, you know, they want to see paperwork, and it's a big problem.
You still there, Earl?
It was a killer question.
Yeah. No, I don't, because I sell certified parts from the factory. So in this country, it's an IA inspection. That's it. You know.
I think you're breaking up a little, Earl.
You know, the buyer has to determine the airworthiness. When I send them a part, yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that the buyer has to determine the airworthiness. I don't know what the mic is.
I guess that was the problem.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I get you. So,
Hello.
yeah,
Can you hear us,
thank you.
Earl? Hello.
Gotta put another dollar in.
Anyway, can you hear me now? Can you
Yes.
hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
hear you guys. Yep.
Yep.
Can you hear
Can
me
hear
now?
fives. Yes, go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe there's too long a delay. Can you hear me okay now? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey, Earl, you said that you got up to as many as 100 aircraft. How many do you have left now?
Over there right now, I've got about, I think, 22. When I moved, I scrapped almost 40 of them. Okay. So, and I did that the year before. I scrapped about 40 of them. So I saved all the good parts. But I saved all the good parts. Don't get me wrong. Okay. You hear me okay?
Yes. And so a follow-on question would be, of all of those airplanes, the 100 or so, did you make record by chance of serial numbers and or VIN numbers of those aircraft?
No. Nope.
No.
No. As far as I'm concerned, they were just parts. So,
You know, we often get
never
people
did.
reaching out to us to say, you know, hey, this is my grandfather's airplane. Here's the VIN number.
Right.
You know, whatever happened to it.
No, to me, I bought them and they were parts, and they became parts. And you know, a sad part about parts, okay, especially with the Stinson. You hear me, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. A really sad part is I can sell a wing for $1,500 and make money, good money, okay? But if I take that same perfect wing and cut the wingtip off of it, I get $1,200 for the wingtip and outer stub spars, okay? Why? Because if you bought those parts from Univera, it'd be like $6,000, $7,000. So more guys ground loop airplanes than need wings. So sadly enough, I've cut up a lot of wings just to get the wing tips out of them and the tanks out of them and the slats out of them and the control surfaces, and make more money parting the wing out than selling it as a complete wing. There?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so I have about maybe 20, I don't even know, 22 airplanes, let's say there. But I have 180 struts I have, 30 sets of wings. I have, 25 sets of wheel pants. It just goes on and on. I have, through the collections I've made with people around the world or around the U.S. and their collections, I mean, I've got boxes full of flap handles. I've got boxes full of pulleys. I've got boxes full of aileron hinges, that kind of stuff. And so I've got about 5,000 square feet of parts, if that makes sense, plus the airframes. I see you moving. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you lose me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hear you.
Two heads going up and down and stuff. I don't hear nobody. Okay. Anyway, the parts that sell instantly and people are waiting for, and I get almost all my money back when I buy an airplane, is Scott 3200s. I sell instantly. Cleveland Wheels and Brakes, I sell instantly. I have waiting lists for dual brakes. I have waiting lists for, but I probably got 25, 30 sets of cowling, and I have a building that's 53 by 33. That's pallet racks all the way to the ceiling. Big steel building. That's nothing but Stinson parts.
Earl,
Yeah.
Murray Manning here from Kitchener, Ontario, up in Canada.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm currently rebuilding a very early 108, straight 108, and I'm looking for an original sort of dash assembly and maybe even some of the interior panels. Do you have anything from old early 108s left around?
I don't at the present time. No, not a. 70 years later, the panels are all so cut up that it's unbelievable. I've had a bunch go through, but I've had no problem selling, original panels with maybe one hole in it or something like that. And the interior panels are usually pretty bad shape, but I got everything else.
Hey, Murray.
Yeah.
Hey, so I redid my panel, and I had a guy do the exact same shape, for the curvature of that panel. And I have an AutoCAD program that I'll gladly let you just use that if you want to make a new panel.
Well, I own 3 108s. They're all in piles and pieces. And they're either straight 108 or I got 2 108 ones. But to find an original dash panel really seems to be hard. And
You want the square panel?
yeah, that square early panel, because they use those old early yokes, and I'm trying to make it as original as I
I've
can.
got a square panel. I've got some square. I've got the square panels, but I had that stuff, but I scrapped those airplanes because there's so little call for 108 stuff, straight 108. So
Well, I can make what's behind it. I can bend and break and make. It's just that.
I've got overlays. I've got the square overlays.
Okay, I'll get in touch with you on that.
Then. Yeah, I got lots of those.
That's great. Anyone else needing any parts at the moment?
Earl, I got a question. Mark Fulmer from Michigan.
Hey.
Any chance you'll be joining us at the Stinson Summit next month in Kansas?
No, I can't. I've just got too much going here.
Okay.
Hey,
We had set aside the time for Indiana, for the cord meet, but we're going to fly this airplane next Saturday finally, and then I'll be able to. I'm actually at Red Bluff Airport in a friend of mine's hangar because there's a 6,000-foot runway here. The runway where I live is only 3,000 with trees at both ends, so we decided to test fly it over here, and then I'll take it home, and then I got a guy coming in to do the interior. That's going to take a month or month and a half to do the interior, and then we're going to start flying it around. Jay Leno's actually supposed to come and do a whole special on this airplane, so he's producing that.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Earl, you going to go down to Columbia?
When is it?
It's the second weekend in September.
I probably will, but I'll take my Citabria.
Oh, okay.
I've got a Citabria Scout also. This thing's $1 a mile in fuel.
Is that same Scout that you were working on when I came by to get my parts?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you recognize this one?
Yes, I do.
That's your fuselage.
Oh, cool. Right on.
I didn't keep the same paint job, so I did the entire airplane when I did the wings.
Right on.
Hey, one thing while you guys are talking about Columbia, be sure to check with Sherry. I think that they have canceled that fly-in at Columbia.
Oh, really?
She was looking at possibly doing a day fly-in, but I have not heard back whether that's confirmed or not. So double check on that. But yeah, that for sure was canceled.
Like everything else.
So I need parts for an HW75 over here in England. I guess you don't deal in 75s and 10As and things.
I see your head moving.
I was just saying, over here in England, I've got a 75 I need some big parts for, but I guess you just don't deal in the two-seaters.
No, I don't. So I've really hit a dry spell for buying airplanes. I mean, I've only bought one in the last year. They're just not out there, for me anyway, at this end, that I can afford to pay for. So I don't know. Hopefully that'll change. I'll pick up some more. But this thing behind me has occupied a lot of my time in the last couple of years.
All right. Well, Earl, we certainly appreciate you joining us this evening or morning, wherever you're calling from. But thank you so much. We appreciate all the support that you're giving the Stinson planes and the brand there. That if it weren't for guys like yourself that's got these parts, I'd almost want to say hoarded, but put away and got spares, we wouldn't be able to fly today. So thank you. And
yeah. You know what is things you do, the Stinson Parts business is fun. I love going out and getting the airplanes and bringing them home and going through boxes and boxes of parts and find all kinds of treasures. So it's been pretty good to me.
That's awesome. Does anyone else have any questions?
Hey, Earl, do you have any window locking mechanisms for a -3?
I do.
Okay, I'll give you a call and get some of those going.
Yeah. I got quite a few of those.
Earl, it's Mark Fulmer again. Do you hold any STCs for any of the upgrades to a Stinson?
No, I don't. Nope, I just buy and sell parts.
Okay.
But I will say one thing that, my -2, which is here on the airport getting the ADSB done on it, I sold it to a UPS driver or captain. And I put the Bobcat conversion in mine, the one that, I don't know if you got familiar with it, but that's being sold now up in Oregon. God, I just forgot the guy's name, but Univair is like $16,000 and his is $6,500. And he's in Washington State, just on the other side of the Oregon border in East Oregon. And I'll tell you what, I know a dozen guys have put 180s in their airplane cheaper than overhauling a Franklin in today's world. And the Franklin, the Stinson was built for a 180 horse Lycoming. It makes a wonderful airplane.
That's
and you
an
can fly in a straight line, and you don't need to look down to see if there's a place where you can land under you. Yeah, the 0360 is such a nice engine in that airplane. So. Gerald Cooper, Cooper's Landing.
Cooper. That's it.
Yeah, Gerald Cooper, Cooper's Landing in Washington. And It's the old Bobcat conversion, and really makes it a nice airplane. And the other thing about doing the Lycoming conversion, if you've got a Stinson that's worth $20,000 and you spend $20,000 overhauling that Franklin, when you're done, you can get $20,000 for it. If you put the O360 in it that costs $20,000, the airplane's worth $40,000.
To know.
What? I see people, but I don't hear anybody.
Well, Jody, with the time check, we've got about 7 minutes till the top of the hour.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and just wrap this up. Again, Earl, thank you so much for joining us and giving a little, not only a history lesson, but also a glimpse into your life and what you're doing there for the Stinson brand. One thing I'll tell you, you guys, for next month, I have got confirmation that if you know or ever heard of Matt Yonkin, who is an air show performer that flies the Beech 18, I'm going to do an interview with him at the Arkansas Air Military Museum. And he's got a rare Stinson Jr. With a bit of a reckless past that his grandfather restored. So that'll be one to join in on and listen. And we're going to do a little walk around with it. So I'll have my my camera going around, and we're going to get inside, look around, and all that. And he's going to talk about that Stinson. So it looks like we've set that up for September the 24th. That is a Thursday, and we'll do it at the same time as we have on this one.
That's Jody's plan.
So, yeah, that should be quite interesting to have Matt Yonkin talk about his grandfather Stinson Jr.
Nice.
So
That's a Detroiter like mine.
with that, that's all I've got. Anyone have any questions? No?
I think we had about a maximum of 24 people on tonight, so that was nice.
Yeah. All right then.
Turn on your video here, and I'll give you a little spot of my airplane. There's some stuff on it.
If you want to try to turn on your video, you can. I'm not sure. There you go. We can see the airplane behind you.
There we go.
I'm not sure his Wi-Fi is quite strong enough to.
Well, I think you're correct. His Wi-Fi
Yeah.
is just not strong enough.
Right, to do the video and the audio at the same time. Well, everybody, it's been a pleasure seeing everybody. We'll do another Zoom call. What are we trying to do? Once every month, I think.
Yeah.
And at least we get to see each other at the summit here next month, too.
Oh, absolutely.
You want to say anything about that, Brett?
So I got a email from the innkeeper today, and she said that because we're booked, she's inviting anybody who wants to allow an air mattress in there to accommodate other people. They would supply the air mattress.
There you go. And I think there's still some RV spots too.
Yep, that's right. And one other thing is the night photographer that was there last year, he's going to be there again this year. And looking forward to some more great pictures like behind Jody there.
Yeah. Good deal.
Well, I'd love to join you guys, but we're banned.
Yeah.
Maybe all this craziness will be over at some point.
Well, I was coming to Oshkosh this year, and so God willing, I'll be with you at the next one.
Excellent.
Good.
Excellent. Everybody have a safe night, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Thank you.
Bill.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Bye.